Hey, what's going on, High Hill Campers? It's Karl back with our third episode from the life of Moses. In this breakdown, I'll give you some Easter eggs from Exodus chapter 4, verses 13 through 31. Yes, campers, we are now moving back in time.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
Okay, it's not a DeLorean, but when we travel back from chapter 6 to chapter 4, we meet up again with God commanding Moses to go to Egypt. And after all that God has done for Moses, rescued him from a river, provided a family and a shelter in Midian, and given him this incredible opportunity to free his people, to free a nation, Moses practically begs God to send someone else because he's insecure and he's afraid. And so he offers excuse after excuse after excuse about why he's the wrong guy for the rescue mission. As the story unfolds, Moses eventually, he decides to go. And as he's making his way back to Egypt, we stumble across this little curious Bible verse. It reads, "At a lodging place on the way, the Lord met Moses and was about to kill him." Okay, hold up. Why would God want Moses dead? I mean, he's sending him along. Why would he want him dead? The Bible doesn't explicitly state the reason, but there is one popular theological fan theory that Moses was about to be the leader of this Hebrew nation, but his own household was not respecting and upholding the covenant promises that God had put in place for his people. Now, before I keep going, I got to issue this spoiler alert. Not because what follows will ruin the story for you, but because it may spoil your appetite. So buckle up, campers. This is not your average Bible story from kids' church, okay? Apparently, Moses' sin was not circumcising his firstborn son. The circumcision is the surgical removal of foreskin from a baby boy's private area. Now, if you don't know what that means, then ask the camp dean, Jeremiah House. He's excited to explain it to you in great detail. You're welcome, Jeremiah. Basically, this procedure was to be done 8 days after birth as a physical sign of God's spiritual covenant and to set God's people apart from all the other nations. Moses failed to do this for his son 8 days after his birth. And by now, his son was much older at this time. So why didn't Moses follow through? Maybe he ignored God's commands because he didn't believe it was important, or maybe he got so enmeshed in the Midian culture that he was living in that he recognized they didn't practice it, so neither was he. We don't know why it was not observed, but it amounted to sinful disobedience and a lack of fearful reverence for God and the commands that he had put in place. And so just when it looks like Moses was about to pay the penalty for his disobedience, this strange story gets a little bit stranger with this. But Zipporah took a flint knife, cut off her son's foreskin, and touched Moses' feet with it. "Surely you are a bridegroom of blood to me," she said. And so the Lord let him alone. Exodus 4:25 through 26. Moses' fast-acting wife, Zipporah, and her selfless son, who must have had an incredibly high pain tolerance, they saved his life from God's wrath. And as strange as the story is, it's a great reminder that the great I Am is mighty and he's awesome in power, and he should be taken seriously. His commands should be taken seriously. And while the whole bridegroom of blood phrase sounds like a 1950s horror movie, it actually is a foreshadowing. It foreshadows how salvation for humanity, past and present and future, must come through the shedding of blood from another firstborn son, one who would sacrifice his life to save all of us from all of our sinful disobedience.